Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news and note smash-up video today, starting with the juggernaut, Joyce. So he's been involved in some online fisticuffs with Anthony Joshua and also the trainer Shane McGuigan. So see here on screen, so Joyce a little slow off the mark responding to Joshua, who had made a comment about 5 days ago, talking about how he'd shared the ring with Varleen and also Joyce, not afraid to jump in with them, etc. So 5 days later, Joyce, kind of similar to one of his punches, maybe a little bit slow off the mark, but eventually it lands. He says, "And Anthony Joshua, you having a meltdown. Where's all your belts? All those sponsorships and endorsements helping? Question mark. You're a glass cannon. Quit the act. You were given everything. Hashtag easy mode." So that draws out a response from Anthony Joshua, who says, "It took you 5 days to think of this?" And that's a pretty good response because it wasn't exactly quick off the mark. But Joyce obviously responding to that, not a call out, but Joshua saying he's not scared to fight him. Joyce then posting to social media, "Joshua won't be knocking Joyce out in the round. I don't think anyone can knock him out, full stop. That's the fight we should be pushing for." And that's Carl Froch talking of a potential fight between Joshua versus Joyce. Joyce in the comment over here saying, as Carl Froch says, Joshua versus Joyce should be AJ's next fight. And then a bunch of hashtags. So then you have Joyce also taking a crack, so a busy day on social media for him, taking a crack at Shane McGuigan, who can be seen here, boxing social clip. McGuigan says just pause that for a sec, a win against Joyce boxing would be the confidence boost Anthony Joshua needs heading into a rematch with Usyk. So obviously not liking that, Joyce says, "I used to have respect for that McGuigan's gym. I take it all back. You have no respect for what I have achieved and will achieve. I'm so glad I didn't sign with your clone Cyclone family," so Cyclone Promotions. "Tell your son to wind his neck in and concentrate on picking up DDD off his knees." Daniel Dubois obviously beaten by Joyce, now trained by Shane McGuigan. And then you have Joyce responding to a comment that McGuigan then made, saying, this is McGuigan responding to yourself on Twitter via someone else's profile, and saying that it had to have been Sam Jones. But Joyce saying, "Haha, you're not funny. Sam works for Probellum now. You bellend." Obviously, Joyce known for wearing a bellend costume himself. And Jones also chimes in, so he used to manage Joyce, not managing him anymore, obviously still friends, but he says, "I never once had access to Joe's account. My spelling is crap. Joyce was always worried in case I ever tweeted from his account, but at least he never had to worry about me nicking his fight purses." So for the background on that, I'm not going to go into it, but you can sort of Google that, the McGuigans and Carl Frampton. So a little bit of drama online. Joyce opening up a little bit, the juggernaut as it were, saying that he wants to face Anthony Joshua and that he would like to have that fight. Obviously, we know that for Joyce, this would be the fight of his career to date and a big step up from the sort of competition, the level that he has been fighting at. But I like that fight, but I just don't think it's going to be realistic or to happen next. One of Joyce's and Joshua's division rivals, fellow Brit, Dillian Whyte, currently training for his upcoming fight with Tyson Fury. So he's out in Portugal and he is working alongside the likes of German prospect Viktor Jurk. So Jurk also recently in the Anthony Joshua training camp where Joshua was preparing for Alexander Usyk. So Jurk, 21, 22 years old. Has, not even sure he's turned pro yet, but he definitely has got the size, as you can see, and also fights as a southpaw. So Dillian Whyte clearly preparing for any eventuality. So good size, and he can move and box well. You can see here from this little clip. So I mean, decent work, and probably comes a lot cheaper than some others as well. Dave Alen is set to return to the ring this weekend, so he'll be on Fight Zone. You can see here, this is a press release. It was talking up Dave Alen, including facing top heavyweights, Luis Ortiz, Dillian Whyte, David Price. Obviously lost them all. It probably would have been actually better to mention the career best win of Lucas Brown. But so the press release goes on to say the fight, which is at Newcastle's Hilton Hotel, Saturday, March 19, Fight Zone against Bulgaria's Milan Puanov. The Eastern European, who has won 5 of 13, is lined up to give returning Yorkshiremen some rounds. But in heavyweight boxing, every fighter is just one punch away from an upset. Not seeing that's going to happen there, but what is going to happen next is the question for Dave Alen, and he wants it to be Alen Babic. So him saying on his social media, on his Instagram, once Saturday is out of the way, and I've had my 2 comeback wins and showed I'm in good shape and ready to fight Alen Babic, Eddie Hearn, no reason to avoid me any longer. Alen Babic actually weighing in there. The gods of Olympus will grant us that fight. Be faithful and patient, my dear Alen. And obviously 238 people weighing in on that with a like. Nothing there from Alen. But I'm not sure if I'm just not convinced what Dave Alen has left, given his sort of struggles physically, mentally. And we saw Alexander Usyk, and I've played this clip before, I'll play it again. Alen has spoken about this as well. You can see here getting tagged by a shot by Usyk. He said he was out on his feet. So what has Alen got left? He was a guy that led with his face and blocked a lot of punches with that face. His durability is certainly a question these days. Alen Babic is no great shakes, but if Dave Alen, his durability, which was his best asset, has diminished, then it becomes a much easier task and assignment for Alen Babic should they face each other. I mean, I guess there would be some interest. I mean, it's not a fight that the division necessarily needs, but for however long it lasts, probably going to be entertaining. Moving on, and this is something that had been up on BoxRec, but I hadn't seen any formal announcement. So Christian Thun, the German 6'8" heavyweight, 7-0, 5 KOs as the poster says. So he'll be facing, and this is March the 25th in Florida, Amron Sands. And Sands is coming off a loss in 2021 that he'll be looking to sort of overcome. Be interesting to see. I think this is a relatively well-matched fight in terms of that event. But Thun, a few inches taller, I think, given his development and where Sands lost, I mean, be interesting to see how that plays out. I think that Christian Thun should be the favourite heading into that one. And this is something that I actually saw on LW Boxing's Instagram page. And I was like, hang on, that's Malik Scott. What? Hang on, what? So he's back in the ring this weekend. And I was wondering what's going on here. So I started to dig down the rabbit hole and I was like, who's this guy? Never heard of him. So 18th of March, the fight is in Belarus. He is facing, it's a former MMA guy, Sergey Karatanov. So there is actually an article up online that talks about, this fight, but from the press conference, all that sort of stuff, interview with Ren TV, Fight Club tournament, just talking about Malik Scott, just in broad terms, fight by the rules, do everything to win and only forward, blah, blah, blah. But so he's 41 years old. Malik Scott, 41 years old. So Sergey Karatanov, mainly known for kickboxing, MMA, etc., just a couple of fights on his ledger, whereas Malik Scott obviously has 41 years old, over 40 fights on his ledger. Last one was back in 2016 versus Luis Ortiz, which is quite an infamous fight. I didn't think we'd see Malik Scott coming back to the ring, but he must be getting paid some decent coin. But also, I just noted this ruthless comment here, and if you saw that fight, it was pretty dire. But talks about the knockdowns, but then 4 other attempts at jumping on the canvas not counted. And that is a hilarious and savage comment by BoxRec, but also very accurate. So Malik Scott, at the ripe old age of 41, Deontay Wilder's head trainer, getting back in the ring. So make of it what you will. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.